This video is sponsored by Soundcore. This is me on day 45 with my AirPods Pro 3. It's funny because usually I get a product, film myself unboxing it, and take it from there, but with this one, nope, no. Funny enough, I actually unboxed these at a food court. Go figure. But you know what? That should say a lot because I was so excited to try them out, and man, did I really try them. I tested them as much as I genuinely could.
You just have to lead me on to get you high. Just a minute longer and we'll reach the sky.
Thank you. Again, please consider subscribing. I work during my honeymoon. My wife is gonna kill me and you guys if we don't get to 600,000 by the end of the year. Believe it or not, it took about 30 days for me to get it right. 30 days for me to test 2 different tips. Like after traveling to multiple places, cities, countries, spending time with them in airports, walking with them constantly, using them in bed, it took 30 days for me to realize that I was sort of wearing the wrong tips. And I say sort of because it had nothing to do with comfort or with the sound fit not being calibrated, because I did do that. It was actually because my earbuds kept falling off. Something I didn't realize when I was traveling to Spain, because I was in my honeymoon, so I didn't have my AirPods as I was like moving around. But now that I'm in Toronto for work and I have AirPods and I'm just sort of connected, they kind of come off, but they keep coming out, and then I have to like put them in and like push them in like that, you know, like, rotate them and push them in. You guys can see that, so I have to do that quite often. But I don't know, I wasn't expecting that. Although they're very comfortable, they just keep coming off, and I don't know. Anyways, some feedback I thought I should give. Yeah, this is why you should live with tech so you can properly review it. So when I realized this, I knew it was time to change my tips, but here's what I realized going from dry Madrid weather to more Canadian humid weather. These are actually the AirPods Pro 2 that I barely used. Jan actually used these. Now, check this out. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, but I have very oily skin, which means that the inside of my ears sort of get oily. So after a certain while, my AirPods sort of start sliding off because I have oils around my ear canal, which is, I know it's weird to talk about, but whatever. Which means that my AirPods sort of come out a lot easier than they're supposed to when my ears are like dry and my face and ears are not oily. They don't come out, they actually stay. Now I'm thinking maybe I should try new tips. Does that make sense? Maybe. Now I made a whole tech talk about it on how to change the tips. It actually got a lot of views and comments. I figured this would be helpful for a lot of people. And yes, I know, there are instructions within the box. In fact, if you guys take a quick moment to scan them and search for them, you'll realize how the process is literally the same as the previous gen. However, this year, the tips are made with a thin foam layer infused into them, so you can't really just carelessly pull away. Now, at the time I was rocking the small tips, well, I had to change these. So what you can do if you want to change yours is that you can hold the earbud by the stem and pull the dome up. And with a Kleenex, because it has grip, pinch the silicone tip right at its base and just like pull gently. It's honestly like the most effortless pull ever. And that should say a lot. It's actually really satisfying. Now just do not pull from the dome because as you can see, this material can rip. You can literally tell it's a different material by looking at it. The reason I know this, guys, is because when I bought these, as I was walking away from the store, an Apple employee literally stopped me and warned me because apparently a lot of people were returning these due to them destroying their tips. So I'm just the messenger here. I'm just trying to help. But once that was set for me, okay, I reran another acoustic seal and bam, we were ready to go again. Can't believe it's been more than 30 days I've been using the AirPods and I didn't think about changing the tips. I think this might be better. I'll let you guys know. Yeah, I think this is much better actually. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys posted. Over the next few days, the comfort didn't really improve per se, and not that it needed to improve, but I was definitely looking for my buds to stay in one place, and they did, although not enough for me to replace my Powerbeats Pro 2 at the gym. With this, I do want to say if you're scared about discomfort, chances are you will be really happy with these. Like for me, the foam infused ear tips have been a game changer. Like I'm genuinely not the biggest fan of in-ear buds because they just tend to hurt me after a while, but these, man, these are so freaking comfortable, and I just realized that they are the only buds I truly enjoy by a mile in terms of comfort. I honestly never thought I would ever find earbuds for me. I thought my ears were simply just not meant for them. Like the fact that I rocked these an entire flight for like almost 7 hours back and forward without my ears feeling irritated or hurting felt legit like I had discovered fire. I know it sounds like I'm trying to preach them and hype them up, but this is just genuinely my experience. I find that the combination of the soft foam interior and silicone shell makes a big difference. It feels like gentler in your ear while providing a more natural, secure seal. Like the tip fills the space well without too much pressure. I'm just trying to describe as much as I can to paint you the best possible picture. And depending on your ear, I guess, because each bud is smaller and the tip is aligned more centrally for stability, with the right tip, they should feel secured. But again, this will vary from person to person. Like for me, moving around and stuff is perfectly fine. But like I mentioned, since my ears tend to get a bit oily after a while, I can't really use them at the gym.
There's a great cafe, it's called Chicken.
That's Marvin. The day after I got them, I was already testing battery life and testing noise cancellation and transparency mode, and also conversation awareness, which is okay, but I'll talk about it in a bit. Honestly though, great baby blockers. So, okay, I like the whole single press for play pause, double press to skip forward, triple press to go back, and then the whole press and hold to switch between active noise cancellation, adaptive audio, and transparency mode. What I'm not a fan of is the way you adjust the volume. Like if you're in a rush or maybe taking a leak in a plain bathroom, the last thing you want is to try and swipe up your bud as turbulence is happening and being scared that you're going to flick off your ear and it'll fall in the bowl, because on top of that, you sort of don't have the proper ear tips. Sounds like I'm talking from experience, right? Yeah, honestly though, it just sort of works and sort of doesn't. I'm just not a fan of that. It's kind of weird. Aside from it, I love the ANC. I can't speak much when it comes to comparing them to APP2, but compared to all the other buds I've been using with my Android phones, it's got very effective noise cancellation. I think these might just be the best I've tried along my Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra earbuds, even though in flights you can't completely get rid of that like cabin hum. When you start raising the volume on your phone, everything else around you just disappears. Babies, weird sounds, people speaking, flight attendants, the captain speaking, and for the most part, that includes the cabin hums, as long as you are listening to media at high volume, okay? Even car noises, for the most part, it really eliminates them, even with low volumes. Now, people say that the seal plus the fit is extremely crucial to get the best ANC possible, but as long as you run the test and make sure the buds stay in place for the most part, you'll be good. Now, there was this one time in Marbella where it was like 1 a.m. and we had to wake up at 5 a.m. to catch a flight, and because we were staying in the middle of Old Town, there were literally so many people partying outside and it was so freaking loud. I remember at that time I decided to literally pull out my AirPods and activate ANC. And here's one weird thing I realized. ANC, when kicked in, it was perfect. Like it eliminates, I would say 99% of that noise outside.
of course, without playing any media. I just like wanted to sleep. That's all I wanted to do. But then minute after minute, I could hear the noise outside getting louder and louder and then capping. It would stay at a certain level of ANC. It's like if ANC was sort of fading out slowly and then it would just cap. So I kept running the same test over and over and over again to make sure I wasn't going nuts. Like I kept activating them, deactivating them, activating them, deactivating them. And ANC does indeed seem like it kicks off super strong at first. And then I guess it sort of adapts to your environment in a way. Mind you, I was sleeping on my back and I had a proper seal which I tested and no oily ears. So like the AirPods were literally glued into my ear canal. And I felt like it went from blocking 99% of that sound to about 90%. So anyways, yeah, that was a little discovery I had with ANC. As for transparency mode, I do feel like it feels a little bit less natural compared to other earbuds I've tried. I actually tested this a lot. Like there was this one day where I rocked my earbuds a lot while shooting for a Microsoft Surface laptop. And because John and I talk a lot while I shoot and he edits, I needed to be all day in transparency mode. And that day, because it's the longest I went about my day with transparency mode on, I realized how unnatural voices sound. It took me a while to realize this because for the most part, I use transparency mode for no longer than like 15 to 20 minutes at the time, whether I'm talking to someone, walking to go to a store, at an airport, a restaurant, you name it. Regardless, they still allow you to stay aware of your surroundings and it does the job, but it's not the best at it. And then conversation awareness. Here's the thing with this.
I've been trying to think what's the best way possible for me to show you guys how this works, and I think I found it. Take a look at this, okay? Okay, so I have this video playing, right? Let me enable conversation awareness. Bam. So it's on. Listening mode is in transparency because I'm currently talking, right? So let's enable that right here. Let's go back to noise cancellation. And now if I start talking, bam, it changes right away. So it's really quick. It takes about 2 seconds because the UI is a bit faster than what happens in the earphones. So now I'm going to stop talking. Here's noises, so it won't change, you see? So here, let me run the test a bit further away, okay? So here we are, okay? So I'm talking, and now I'm going to stop talking.
And then it takes 5 seconds for ANC to kick in again.
By the way, just so you know, on most apps, it doesn't stop video playback or audio playback. It just lowers the volume. It doesn't stop it.
Okay, here's the thing, okay? I tested this a lot. I actually did. In fact, when I film these videos, I try to talk to myself a lot in camera to give myself some notes. So this is a mode that only works if you are talking to someone.
One thing I do want to talk about is the conversational mode is cool, but not really. Like if someone speaks to you, it won't kick in until I start speaking, which is annoying because, you know, if someone speaks to me, I won't be able to understand what they're saying because I have noise cancellation on, which doesn't really make sense. It only starts when you actually start speaking to the person. It takes about like 2 seconds for it to kick in.
It's kind of weird. It's a weird mode in my opinion. Like it doesn't always trigger in the exact moment you'd expect. I would say it's not a reliable feature, especially in very noisy or very quiet settings. So I'm just not a fan of it.
And I'm talking right now, so we can... Oh, okay, so here's the thing about AirPods. When you're listening to a video on Spotify, if you start talking, it literally pauses it. It pauses it, and that's it. It's paused right now as I'm talking to you guys. Now, let me wait and see if it restarts. There you go. So it takes a few minutes to restart and then bam, it stops automatically. So that's cool. That's a cool feature. I really like that instead of lowering the volume. I just find that much better. That said, I'm gonna connect the AirPods to my Windows PC because I'm actually running a battery life test on this Windows PC for this current video that I'm filming today.
I ran so many battery tests. I really did. So you guys better subscribe to the channel. But anyways, here is one of them. This here is a battery test I ran with transparency mode on for the most part. So I had actually started this test with a charge of 80% at 12:39 p.m. I was shooting a video that day for the Surface like I mentioned before, and one cool thing that I love about AirPods is just how it reads your notifications while you're away from the phone. It's really cool. Now I spent quite a lot of time shooting and talking to Jan as I was shooting and listening to a podcast the entire time. As you saw, in literally an hour and a half, it depleted 15%. I kept shooting. In fact, there was a moment where I had connected these to my Windows PC because I was running a battery test on that as well. And I went back to the iPhone eventually at some point, and I even took some FaceTime calls. By 5:17 p.m., the AirPods were at 28%. That's 52% in the span of almost 5 hours. But here's the best test I did, okay? The day I left to Spain, I charged my AirPods all the way to 100%, including the case. Like, I had a full charge for it. I mainly started using these on the plane at around 6:20 p.m. if I recall. That's when I was playing with some modes. I had ANC on for the most part, conversation awareness as well. I was consuming TikTok, watching movies, listening to music. By 1:25 a.m., which was the end of my flight, I was at 12%. And I didn't really use them as much as I was going to the hotel after my flight, but I did charge them when we landed Malaga time, okay? At 7:35 a.m., I started my charge. From 12%, it took about 12 minutes to get to 47%. And then it took a whole hour and 30 minutes to get to 98%. I also did the test the other day, but from 1% with a case and 8% on the buds. I used one of my Anchor chargers to charge my AirPods. From 8:07 a.m., charging at around 3.5 watts, within 6 minutes, you can get the case to 20% and to about 56% for the buds. With that 20%, by the way, you can literally get the AirPods to charge to 100% if you're ever at 0 with them. And then for everything to be almost completely charged, okay? It took about 45 minutes, but if you want that full charge, it can take about an hour and a half. So that's battery for you. Aside from this, these are for the most part quite reliable in its features, but more than anything, really reliable in call quality. Usually when I talk to people on the phone with earbuds, I always hear "what" or "I can't hear you" at least once during a call. With these, never once while wearing them. They sound great, honestly, and it seems like in many environments, people seem to hear me.
Okay, listen, I've been playing with this for a bit now. I'm actually amazed. It's not 100% accurate, but it's really, really accurate. Okay, listen, we're gonna speak to it in French, and I guess it'll translate to English, and I can speak to it in English, and then it'll like mimic that second person. Anyways, look, I left this till the very end. Today is October 29th, so yeah, look, let's give it a try, okay? Est-ce que tu peux me dire à quelle heure la pratique de foot sera? Yes, it's going to be at around 1 p.m. Et qu'est-ce qu'il y a si je la manque? Well, you're going to be fired from the team. Bon, ben écoute, ça me tente pas de jouer, quoi. Well, then don't come and you won't play. Bon, d'accord, tu sais quoi, je vais venir, je vais jouer, puis c'est tout. No, I don't want you to play anymore. Ben, pourquoi? Because you suck. Ben, va te faire foutre. It actually translates it. It's not like the most accurate translation, to be honest. It's pretty accurate. It's pretty good. But some expressions, it doesn't really understand them. And I guess, yeah, you can tell it to, F off. That's funny. That's really funny. Listen, I was playing with it before, and honestly, for the most part, it's like 80 to 90-ish% accurate. It's really good. You can really use it with someone, and it'll be absolutely amazing. You guys will be able to conversate. Not like in the commercial, that's for sure. At least I don't think so. Not that way, But let me see if it's good at Spanish expressions. Epa, loco, ¿cómo va todo? ¿Qué lo que? Mira, te estoy escribiendo para ver si podemos salir esta noche, a ver. Vamos a un restaurante o algo y bueno, nos vemos más tarde. Bueno, dale, mamá, huevo.
Man, f*** you, mama huevo. Maricón, mama pinga.
It's Spanish is pretty good. It just doesn't understand some expressions. No, but honestly, it's pretty solid. Anyways, this experience, you can pair it with this. Take a look at this. Look at this thing. Pretty interesting, huh?
You can also pair your AirPods experience with this recorder. Like, check this out, okay? This is probably the smallest and most portable recording product you've ever seen. This is a voice recorder that is always ready to never miss a key detail. It's called the Soundcore Work, the world's first coin-sized AI voice recorder. You just double tap the top, feel a little haptic vibration, and that exact moment gets marked in your recording. Because later when you open the app, every tagged moment appears right on your timeline, which is super awesome. The hardware and software work hand in hand. The Soundcore app uses AI to transcribe your recordings with up to 97% accuracy, identify speakers, and automatically summarizes everything with GPT level clarity. It even supports over 100 languages, which, well, your AirPods doesn't support many. If you've had a full day of calls or meetings, it can create one aggregate summary that combines every conversation into a single recap. You can highlight a word or sentence and tap Ask AI to get instant explanations, which is super useful if you're working across industries. It connects over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi for fast transfers, completing an hour file in just 30 seconds, while on Bluetooth, it can take about 300 to 400 seconds for the same file. It's tiny, it clips anywhere, and still records clearly from up to 5 meters away. Everything's encrypted end-to-end with AES 256 and TLS 1.3, stored securely on Amazon Web Services, and when you first set it up, you can get a 6-month free pro membership and the limited time $35 off code. So while your AirPods are great for listening to ideas, Soundcore Work is what you use to capture them seamlessly, intelligently, and without missing a thing. I'll leave a link to them down below. Actually, while we're on the topic of reliability, there was this one day I couldn't find my AirPods. No matter where I looked in the office, I couldn't find them.
Where the fuck are my AirPods, man? Yeah, man. I feel like I've been so disconnected from iPhone that is this normal with Find My that you guys can't find shit? I can't find my AirPods. Play sound. Last time seen 19 hours ago. Bro, it's not even playing the sound. Is this like a constant struggle you guys go through? Like, why isn't it working? Okay, raging aside, I'm actually thinking I must have lost them because it says they were here 19 hours ago. Are they dead? It's not good. I found them. Let me show you where they are. I really suck at finding things. Ta-da! I don't know why they were here, but you know what's strange is that even with the case right here and my AirPods literally here.
Honestly, at that point in time, I was like, oh shit, this is not good for the video. I'm sure I'll find them. I was literally starting to freak out. Find My app said they were like charged, but that they were last seen 19 hours ago. I don't think the case ever truly dies.
My iPhone does not recognize where they are. Nothing. Right? Great. Okay. Maybe let's see where they are. Of course. Nothing. What the The case is indeed at 1%. Turns out that even if the case is at 1%, you can't track it. So that, ladies and gentlemen, answers my damn question. Can't fucking track the case.
So it turns out that there's this low power circuit that keeps Find My tracking active for a while. So even if they die, you can still see their last known location or nearby proximity for several hours. Except that, it wasn't working like so.
So today's Friday. I believe last time I used my AirPods was on Wednesday when I came back. Oh, no, actually, I went to a brunch place yesterday in the morning. But anyways, look, the case is still at 1%, and it's been at 1% ever since I came back. I'm wondering, I'm gonna do my research, I promise, but I'm wondering if the case stays at 1% at all times, just so you're able to find the case if you ever lose it within Find My, right? I think it stays on at 1% to keep that GPS on. So if you ever lose your AirPods, well, you'll know where they are because they never totally die. Does that make sense? I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna do my research, but I mean, they've just been at 1% since forever, and my AirPods are at 8%. They also need some charge, but they're not charging with the case, even though the case is at 1% and still has that tiny little bit amount of juice left to charge the AirPods. Does my reasoning make sense?
Also, I sure do hope IP57 is reliable. Now, I'm sure it is, but I can't comment on that. Other than the fact that I cleaned them a bit with either baby wipes or some wet paper, but I guess that's it. I don't train or sweat with these, so it's useless for me to comment on that. And it's also useless for me to comment on their in-ear heart rate monitoring. Apparently they are totally different from my Beats, which I use for the gym when I have time to go to the gym. But those use this green LED optical sensor pulsing over 100 times per second to estimate heart rate, while the AirPods uses a more advanced infrared system that samples faster and delivers more consistent, accurate readings. iOS 26 does give AirPods Pro a cool setting you might want to use though. You can help pause media on inactivity for users who use AirPods to help you sleep. And in that same menu, the ecosystem really delivers a bunch of cool stuff. A menu I got to play with the first week I got it. You can take a hearing test, change what the stems can do for you. There's this camera control you can enable to capture a photo or record a video, and that's about it. But I really found the menu to be interesting. And one other feature that I do love about AirPods, it's how it reads your notifications in depth.
It's actually pretty cool. The AirPods asked me if I wanted to read the Uber notification, and then I said yes please, and then it just read the entire description of the car, the Uber driver, when it was coming and everything. So that's pretty cool. That's cool. That's awesome. I really like that. Okay, I don't know why you'd ever want to do this, but first of all, it's actually really easy taking off this D-brand case out of the AirPods, so that's nice. If you ever want to connect your AirPods to a Windows PC, ideally a Windows PC most of the time, you open them up, you double press, and it goes into pairing mode, and then I can see them right here, although it says headphone audio, it doesn't say AirPods. So you click on it.
And then what, my friend? Because for some reason they were not connecting to my PC.
Wow, okay, well I was gonna show you how to connect your AirPods to the Windows PC. I turned off Bluetooth on the iPhone to make sure there wasn't any interference between both devices. It won't connect. Windows doesn't want to connect to the AirPods. It's weird.
Okay, so I had actually tried this multiple times, and for some reason it just never wants to connect to my custom PC. Like I even disabled Bluetooth on the MacBook and Bluetooth on the iPhone, and just nothing. So I had to take out my G14 and I tested it, which worked wonderfully, so that was great. Then I tested a few features like conversation awareness. It worked.
Test, 1, 2, 3, conversational mode, conversational mode, it works.
ANC and transparency mode also work, of course, but the nice seamless ecosystem connectivity doesn't work. It's either connected to the MacBook and iPhone, or it's just not. But the disconnection and connection between an Apple device and Windows device works really well. And of course, you literally lose most features and you don't have that interactive menu to tweak certain things. What I'm trying to say here is that there's literally no point on buying these if you want to use them for any other device besides an Apple device. Even for the ROG Ally X, it's sort of useless in a way.
Well, that works. I'm not quite sure why my Windows PC doesn't want to connect to the AirPods, but I've tested my G14 with the MacBook and the iPhone. Obviously, you cannot connect the AirPods on a Windows device and expect that Windows device to synchronize with the MacBook or any Apple device, really. That's to be expected, but the MacBook and the iPhone connect really well after I disconnect the G14 and vice versa. So that's cool. It works. I don't know what's going on with my Windows PC, but ignore whatever I said, if I said anything.
And I get it, you want to hear that new sound signature, but it works best with Apple devices. Now, some people say there is this subtle difference between APP2 and APP3, but they do find that the signature leans a little boosted in bass or treble, which may not appeal if you prefer ultra flat neutral sounds. And of course, the better seal you have, the better the sound. Port fit would mean compromised bass, stage details, and so on. Just make sure that, again, you always test your fit. Personally though, I absolutely love the soundstage. It's got a strong bass, clear vocals, and so on. And it's a sound that, by the way, sounds quite different on Windows. So keep that in mind. I guess to elaborate, I can say that, I'm not an audiophile at all, but highs, I guess, sound crisp, but not too sharp. I already said this, but vocals are nice and they mix well with instruments. It's not as congested, if that makes any sense. Like one doesn't feel like it's on top of another in a way. They're not trying to like battle each other. And the bass, well, you can really feel the low end kick of like a drum or maybe a movie soundtrack without losing clarity. After 45 plus days, really I have no wear or tear, and I would speak about how the case has no scratches or maybe has scratches, but I used a D-brand case on it the whole time. The hinge still feels great, my tips are totally fine, but if you F them up, you can buy a whole set from the Apple Store. Not sure why they need to sell the whole set, but yeah, you can't just get one, which sucks. That's it for me. This has been exactly 50 days with AirPods Pro 3.